the topic is something that we've been talking about here, and especially on the locker room, it's been going around a lot. Is about the belt grading system that IMF has introduced across the world, and that we have brought to India. Now, as the technical director for India and MMA India, and affiliated to IMF, which is the world's largest apex governing body for the sport of MMA. I thought I'd bring more clarity to this discussion so that people know what exactly the belt grading is, who the people behind it are, how it is structured, and why it's been put out there. And from now onwards, if any dialogues happen, they can be much better informed dialogues. Positive or negative is a secondary issue, but I'd like those dialogues to be better informed. So, as far as the belt grading and belt structure is, it's fairly simple. It's like most other martial arts. It's white belt, yellow belt, green belt, blue belt, purple, brown, and then black. We have bands in between also. So for kids, it'll be white, yellow, yellow, green, green, so on and so forth, right? From blue belt onwards, once you become a blue belt, you can apply for a coach's certification. The coach's certification is a course that will happen overseen by the International Mixed Martial Arts Federation and is certified again by the International Mixed Martial Arts Federation. There are 3 levels to the coach's certifications. There's a level 1 coach, level 2 coach, and a level 3 coach. You'll have to go through them by progression. So that's after you finish the level 1 coach, after a certain while, and fulfilling certain criteria, then you can become a level 2 coach, a level 3 coach, so on and so forth. Now, while the belt techniques, belt grading is just only about technical proficiency, being able to do those techniques, and those 150 techniques, or how many other techniques per belt, and do them well and execute them well. The coaching certification is going to be more about how to coach and the science of coaching behind MMA. So the ethics of coaching, injury prevention, weight cuts, coaching methodology, psychology, sports psychology, sports science, and a whole bunch of other things, right? So, regardless of your technical ability, as far as certain specific techniques, that entire other framework of coaching that is essential for every athlete is something that can be provided here. Now, everything from weight cuts to, I mean, you name it, we've got it. It's fairly elaborate. It's quite a bit of study also. I'm just talking about level 1 itself. Then there's level 2. Level 3 is, I mean, it's a very high level of coaching proficiency and sports science and all of that. It'll take a few months to study. So, so these are the 2 aspects of it: the belt grading and the coaching. Now, another thing I'd like to make clear is it's not a belt. It is a band. It's a wristband. Okay, though I mean it's just a wristband, man. And the main important thing is the actual certification and the fact that you've reached that level, right? So what this belt grading is for is the next thing. Why is it there? Why can't we do without the belt grading? I mean, of course we can. We've been doing so without the belt grading for so long. But 2 things primarily. One, the first thing is it's about spreading the sport and giving people a system that is workable, that they can do, a syllabus and a support system and a verified coaching license that can be used and that is recognized in over 140 countries now and soon to be everywhere in the world as a legitimate qualification. Not a qualification of mastery, mind you. It is not a mastery qualification. Someone who's finished a black belt in this is not a master of MMA and he knows everything about MMA. He has gone through a certain process for a certain amount of time and learned a certain amount of techniques so that he is proficient in those techniques till that level set there, and he is certified in those things. Okay, so there can be much better MMA coaches and martial artists who do not have a certification and who do not have belt grading, but this is something that is there to help develop many more coaches, athletes, and also recreational practitioners, which is a huge source of income. Now, most of the schools across the world, not just India, run on recreational practitioners. What, 90% of your guys or 70% of your guys are never going to compete. They're going to come in, and a lot of them stay for years, man. I have people who stayed with me for 7 years, 8 years, just training not competing, but training as martial artists and getting really, really good at what they do. So for them also, this is a reward system. It's a goal that they can look at. It gamifies the entire thing. It's another source of income for the clubs and for the coaches. It's just a plus, 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 plus on every angle, if you ask me. Now, is this going to dilute the other great coaches? No, the other great coaches already have great champions. They have a huge amount of veracity behind them, and they've got the whole thing going on. What this will do is allow new people to come up, a lot more coaches to come into the scene, a lot more athletes to come into the scene, a lot more recreational practitioners to also have a certain level of expertise. So that is developing the sport. Now, hand in hand with that is also the fact that this will also help us have some sort of accountability. I'm sure all of you guys know this is a problem that's there across the world. There are people who will come and train in your academy for 2 years and then go out and start their own academy, call themselves a coach. I've had national champions. I've trained national champions inside of a year. I've got multiple national champions who've trained just for 2 years. Does that make them a good coach? No. Do they know enough? No, absolutely not. They won a few fights. Yeah, great and happy for them. And all power to them. They're great athletes, but are they coach material? That's a completely different game. That's a completely different ball game. Have they spent enough time training to be proficient in certain systems? 1 year, 2 years. I mean, you think about it. But so I've had people who worked with me as supervisors learn the business and gone and open out multiple clubs. I've had people work with me for 3 months and go out and open, MMA fitness classes. These things it's crazy. That is what dilutes the sport. But if I can have some sort of a grading system that says if you stay with us for so long and you test and you pass these tests, then you get this level, this level, this level, this level, so on and so on. Otherwise, apart from the medals, there's no difference between someone who's come to my club for 3 months and someone who's been coming to my club for 6 years. And training depends. If someone is training as a fighter, different from someone who's training as a casual athlete. What is their level? This is the level that the coach gives you, and you can work towards. So the accountability is another factor that we're looking at. It gives us other small things like income. It gives you it gamifies your entire process. It gives your recreational practitioners goals to reach. All of that is the other thing. Now. This is a basic thought process behind it. The other concern for a lot of people would be who is giving you the belt, right? It's a legitimate concern. If some guy comes and says, "Hey, Ajit, I'm going to grade you," I'll be like, "Who the hell are you to grade me? Shit, step back," right? It's a legitimate question, completely legitimate question. So. I'm not going to delve into it too much. I'm just going to tell you some of the names that are involved in the technical committee for IMF. And these are the people who are, actually designing this whole bell system and all of that. That being said, the bell system is a work in progress. The syllabus is a work in progress. It's constantly evolving. It's not just the technical committee of IMF, but the technical committees across the world that are constantly contributing. And we are looking at refining this over time. It's just stepped in, but every year it's going to get better and refined. So what we've started off with is something very basic, and we're going much further over the next few years. So a few names on the technical committee right now. Some of them, I'm not telling you all of them because it's a long list. Some of them, Danny Kaw from Ireland, 2-time Jiu-Jitsu world champion, 35 years of experience as a MMA coach and practitioner. He's coached many kids teams across the world. And coaching kids teams is a very, very big skill set, mind you. So that's why I'm saying it. It is a great, great qualification. Coaching a kids team is... When you're going into collegiate and school athletics, it's a completely different ball game, and it requires huge amounts of. That's a different topic for a different day, but it's a huge topic in itself. John Kavanagh, Conor McGregor's coach. He's a UFC Hall of Famer. He's a coaching legend in MMA. Doesn't get too much better than that. He's got, his credentials speak for themselves. Everyone knows who he is. Luis Barneto from Portugal. He's a certified wrestling and boxing coach. He's JKD, Jeet Kune master. He's trained many collegiate level champions across Portugal, and he's also one of the expert commentators that go into UFC analyzing fights and talking about them. David Pierre Lewis from France is a FILA grappling world champion, third degree BJJ luta livre champion, third degree BJJ black belt. Many national and international titles under him, as well as his students. Again, all of these guys have been coaches for years, and they've got a lot of champions. Apart from their own qualifications, they've got a lot of champions under them also, which is, I think, more important. Forrest Griffin, UFC champion, Hall of Famer. He heads the athlete development at the UFC Performance Institute, which is the premier performance institute for MMA in the world. Our president and chairman and general secretary, Gareth Brown and Denzel White, they are both Olympians, Olympian judokas. There's a whole bunch more people. The Russian coaches, as far as MMA, they're the best in the world, if you ask me. The highest level of MMA and IMF is from the Russians. I think in the world also, they're outclassing most people. So these people are also contributors. So these are the people who are contributing to the belt system technically and who are setting it and giving it. So it is not one person. It is not one person who is giving out this belt. You're not going and getting graded by a single person. This is a belt grading and certification and a coaching certification given out by a very, very legitimate crew backed by the apex organization for amateur MMA in the world. Okay, UFC is one of our partners. Most of our referees and our technical leads in refereeing and coaching and all of that, coach and referee at the top promotions. You name it, our people are in there already. So these are the people that are setting this whole system up. Now, from here, what you build on it, how far you take it, and how good you get at it is a completely different thing. From here, whether people are legit, whether people are corrupt with it, whether they hand them out like confetti or not, that's a different topic. All of these things are something else. But as far as the belt system, this is where it's at, and this is what it is. And I think it's a plus for anybody who's looking at getting into MMA. And it's not just the fastest, easiest way to plug into something which has got a great all-round progression that's been brought up by the best people in the world. I mean, one of the best teams in the world, and something that's going to constantly evolve. It's also got a great support system. We've got an app. We've got people who are hiring from IMF also, according to this. There's a whole bunch of things around it. So yeah, so that's about it. That's the clarity that I wanted to bring to this entire conversation. And from now onwards, hopefully anyone who's discussing the belt system, whether it is negative or positive, can do so in a much more enlightened, educated way. Most of you know how to get in touch with me. You can always DM and have a chat with me if you have any more questions.